So when starting out in a business, there will be a lot of challenges, right? And many times those challenges will exceed your abilities at the time. And you have to early on pick a path. You can pick the path to say, hey, I don't know what the answer to this question is, and I may need to get help and find some people who can help me with this. Or you can take the other path of lying about what you know. And I've seen businesses that have gone down that path. For example, I know a guy, I had hired him, and then I found out his backstory where his first client, he had hired a bunch of people to come and sit in an office to make it look like he had a big company. And then the client hired him and thinking that was his team, and it wasn't his team. And then he hired the team with the money the guy had paid him. To me, that is always going to come back and bite you, because if you're going to take that shortcut at the beginning, you're going to always take shortcuts and you're not going to deliver. And I've seen this person go on to do some things that I thought were questionable. And so I just got away from that person and as a vendor. And surprisingly, they'll brag about it as in one of their early stories is, this is how I got my business going. I would never brag about that. To me, that's embarrassing. When my wife and I, we started our business with a fold-out table, a laptop computer, and a chair in an interior office. And I never lied to any clients about what we were. I had many years of experience as a lawyer, but I never would exaggerate or lie or anything. I never talked about the number of employees we had. What I did at that time was I said, hey, listen, you're going to get my service because you're my first client. Now, I don't know if I told the first person they were the first client, but I would say I've got 20 clients maybe. You're going to get the service of someone who puts all of their time into your business. And we're proud of that. And now we have thousands of clients. And we make sure that my job is making sure that my people provide my clients the best service they possibly can, the level of service that I would provide. But I don't lie about it. Now, I'm not directly working on these cases unless there's something I need to work on specifically. And so I think it's important. You're going to make early decisions about whether you're going to skirt the truth or not. And basically, it's like Yoda in Star Wars or in Empire Strikes Back. Once you pick that path, you're always going to cut the corners and it will catch up with you. It's going to catch up with you. And that's not to say that there's not a challenge that may come along and you say, hey, listen, it's easier for me just to shade the truth a little bit. That happens, but you've got to ask who you are. And when you take that first step, when you start going down that dark path, forever will it consume you. That's what Yoda says. So I think it's very hard to get off that path once you start taking that quick fix and that easy way. So you've got to remind yourself every day that you want to do the right thing. And because I'm a spiritual person, I believe that God rewards that. My wife and I have had a level of success and a track of growth that has been really almost unrivaled in the country because we've chosen to do the right thing and make the hard call. But ultimately, that's the better call. And it establishes a foundation where people know what we say. And our top employees and our top clients, everyone comes to us and says, I know what I get when I'm talking to you. And I know you've done it the right way because they've seen us behind the scenes making the right call, making the tough call. And that's worked out really well for us. So once you make a decision about something like this, it's going to be a path you're going to take. And so you've got to learn to make the tough call and do the right thing because it's easy to go the other way and the quick fix, and it never works in the long run. I look back a lot and reflect on our arc of success, my wife and myself. We started off, it was just the two of us with this fold-out table and a laptop computer and a little cell phone. And then we ended up with, now we have over 200 employees. We have people in 10 different countries and who are doing support for our organization. We have thousands of clients and will probably be between 50 and 100 million in gross revenue this year. And we've grown pretty steadily. Even through COVID, we had a little bit of a hiccup, but we are continuing to grow and scale and opening new offices. And if you asked me, when we've done this in 12 years, if you asked me 12 years ago if we would be here, in fact, I just literally had lunch today with my wife. We went to a diner that we had our second date on. And I was looking back thinking I was sleeping on a couch and I was a mess. I was bankrupt and I didn't have to file bankruptcy, but I had no money, sleeping on this couch. I had an indoor outdoor table as my dining room table. And to say in 12 years, if you can go and just blow a business up, yes, it's possible. And did I know that we were going to do this? No, I am more successful now than I ever thought I would be. Thank God. I thought I was going to be pretty successful, but I didn't know I'd be this successful. And so I'm really grateful for that God has blessed us. But the question is, how do you keep your brain from getting totally scrambled along the way? And this is the hard part. Most people at this point do not appreciate the extreme pain of leadership at this level. And a lot of people just assume that it's easy to just get from 10 to 25 to 50 to 100 to 200 people and even, let's say, 1,000 people. I think we'll probably top out at 500 to 1,000 employees. it's extremely difficult and it's extremely painful. And you lose a lot of friends along the way. And you will change, you transform yourself, and people won't respect that. And they'll say things like, oh, we always knew you could be successful, right? And they just assume that, and they don't realize the nights you spent literally crying, right? I can't do this. God help me. I'm done. I can't take another person betraying me, stealing from me, when your friends will steal money from you. Those kinds of painful lessons, when you're making the millions, people they just assume that they're entitled to your revenue and things. And so just really painful lessons. How do you stay true to your values? What I did, we did an exercise a few years ago when we wanted to establish our core values. What we did is we just said, what are our core values? Let's go back and look. And we had all of our key players come in the room, and we listed out over 100 values, and we distilled them down to 7 values. And I realized those values were with me from the very beginning. I say, you should start off with your core values, right? You should. But most of us don't. We don't know what we're doing. I got a fold out table. I'm just trying to keep the lights on. I don't know about core values. But as you grow, you begin to see certain things become clear. And our 7 core values were, number 1 is service to the clients, service to our team, service to our community, leadership, loyalty, faith, and accountability. And we have a lot of stories about where those values have come through in one way or another and shaped the very track of our business. And if you ask me 20 years ago, 10 years ago, what my core values are, I don't think I could have articulated them like that, but I would have said, yeah, that's important to me. And so you start off with an idea about what your values are, you stay on that track, you make sure. For us, we will always put our clients' needs over our own needs. When I say our first core value is service to our clients, I have story after story where I've made the hard call where the client has benefited and it's hurt our business a little bit, but in the long run, we do a good business and people know, and we get referral business. We had a case where we settled for over $100 million. And that case came from someone who we had to discharge as a client. What that means is they didn't have a case, and we called them up and we said, hey, listen, you don't have a case. I'm sorry. We wanted to help you, but there's no case for you. And then they referred us another matter after that. If you can imagine, a client you had to fire sends you one of your largest revenue producers, it really is important to stay on those values. But they felt that we were honest with them and we were very straightforward. And that was a decision that ultimately was the right call and helped us grow our business. So it's important to stay focused on your values, but you probably don't know your values. But think about what's important to you and why you're doing this. Money's never enough, right? This is an important distinction. A lot of people want to get into business. I was like this. When I started my business and I wanted to make a lot of money, it ended up with me sleeping on a couch with a outdoor table as my dining room table, totally broke, financially ruined because I wanted to make a lot of money and I didn't put the client's needs first. I was putting my needs first. When I shifted my focus and it became about the clients, and I said, I'm going to do the best service I possibly can, and I'm going to do a great job, and I know I'm going to get paid if I do a good job, and I'm just going to work real hard for my clients and use all of my talents and abilities, that's when we had the breakthrough moment. The first year we made $500,000. The second year we made over $1 million, and then we've been making over $1 million ever since. But again, the money's the result. It's a barometer. It's not the goal, and it should never be the goal. You can keep track with the money, but it's not what your end goal should be. If it is, you're going to go out of business. It will always happen. So I started, my business now. I was sleeping on a couch. I had an indoor-outdoor table that I was using for my dining room table. I was eating off paper plates, and I had my clothes, and I had a car, and I was upside down. I was actually, my wife and I together were over $450,000 in debt when we started this current business. And I think I had a few $1,000s cash. I was a disaster. And so what it got me to that point, though, was I was like, I'm going to make money. I'll do whatever it takes to make money. I'm going to make the most money I possibly can make. And so I started taking shortcuts, and I tried to start a bunch of businesses that I didn't really care about, that I put money into. And I was like, I could make a lot of money doing this. And so I started a property management company. I started a car dealership, and I just had a lot of experience, but didn't make any money because my heart wasn't in it. I wasn't there saying, hey, I want to serve my clients, my customers. I want to give them the best service possible. And so I was spreading my energy around, and I was chasing out loose ends, and I wasn't doing anything that was meaningful, and I wasn't providing meaningful service. And I ended up losing money in basically every company that I started. And I had a law firm too, which I had problems in that too. And so I think that when you start with the attitude of making money, you're going to be chasing the dollar. That's going to make you make some bad decisions in your life. And the money's not enough to motivate you, man.